differences in terms of tyre strategy. It looks like Phelps has got some pretty new front left or left-hand side tyres here. Of course, 6 tyres each of these drivers have to use throughout the race weekend. That's a set and a half. They have to use that for both qualifying and the 3 races. You would have heard a little bit of a tyre squeal in the background as Ginettas are crashing into each other, but hopefully none of that in this race. Also looking further back, I'm looking at this man here, the number 32 of Luke Hilton for Douglas Motorsport. Qualified 3rd yesterday, he started from 4th today. Definitely has the pace. Unfortunately, just got shuffled backwards a little bit in yesterday's race. And I'm joined once again by John. John, we were just talking about the different tyre strategies and also keeping an eye on this man, Luke Hilton, as he's got good pace but didn't get to show it yesterday.
Yeah, some impressive moments from him yesterday. By the way, you getting a scooter is probably why you were here before me. I should probably invest in a scooter. It's quite a long way. Yeah, we saw some impressive moments from him, but yeah, we haven't really seen the sort of decisive thing that we can go, okay, we see what he's got, yeah? But you can see potential, right, as a former driver yourself.
Yeah. Luke's got quite a good amount of experience, not in single seaters actually. He's raced largely radicals, which are high downforce cars but not open wheel, so he knows how to use the downforce, but getting his driving technique completely bespoke to one of these GB4 cars is what he's been working on. And it's quite interesting to see at the first round. You probably haven't seen it, but Douglas have got a simulator in their awning which they're using to get the drivers warmed up.
Wow, I like that. What was your tactic to warm up? Tennis balls? Juggling,
yes, all of the
skipping,
all of the things.
Have you seen this thing where they hold a piece of whatever and then things drop at random? That seems to be like the really common one that drivers seem to be using at the moment.
A lot of it's just, you know, posturing, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you feel limber and you feel mentally ready, that's the main thing.
Blase, Piers Pryor woke up from a nap, got in the car and came first at Oldham Park in the reverse grid race in 2020. Anyway, let's move backwards then. I don't know who you've already spoken about. I imagine you've probably mentioned Elite being dominant with the top 3 already.
Yes, we've both spoken about Elite and Luke Hilton starting from the outside of row 2, but then we've got Jack Taylor, who's made a big step forward this year. Absolutely on the outside of row 3, 6th place on the grid. He was looking very, very fast in testing at Donington and Silverstone here leading up to the event. A big step forward.
Let's chat to his dad. Right, I don't actually know his dad's name, but let's have a look. Mr. Taylor, what's your name?
Lee.
Hello, Lee. You're live on the broadcast right now. We were just saying that Jack's been very impressive. You were telling me the other day that the secret weapon is going for a nice steak dinner.
Jack enjoys his food and he loves his steak. Being a typical Aussie lad, he loves his food. So a big steak before each race does as well, yeah.
Obviously, you're here kind of full time this year. Last year was a bit of a commuting situation. Have you found it, more... I don't know what the word is, more relaxing, maybe not travelling so much?
Oh, absolutely. Having not to commute back to Australia for 34 hours each trip and come home is it's a big relief, and it's made a big difference to Jack. You can see his results. He's more consistent. He feels he's a bit like a local now. He loves it here. He's like, I can't get him back home.
Awesome stuff. And who's watching back home?
Oh, everyone, all the family, all the supporters, all the sponsors. So there's quite a big clan back at home watching, back in Tasmania and mainland Australia. Yeah.
Well, nice one. And this nice early race for them, so it's a kind of early evening, or maybe late evening, I'm not entirely sure.
Late evening, yes.
Late evening, at least it's not the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's right, exactly
awesome
right.
Stuff. Cheers, Lee, we'll speak to you again, all right. There we go, Jack Taylor's dad. A big character. Mentioning steak with me quite a lot, which was quite funny. Let's move back then. Let's see who else we've got here. Also, Leon Wilson, another returning driver, just here in the number 27 car. We've seen some impressive stuff from him before, so one to watch out for. If there is an incident towards the front, then, he's going to be ready to pounce, isn't he?
Absolutely. Leon, returning driver this year. We've got a largely new grid of drivers in 2025, owing to the new car, a lot of other drivers moving on to other things. Leon, a returning driver, he'll use his experience in the race situations around here, because tactics on circuits like this is crucial. If you make a move in one place, it can leave you vulnerable on the next straight, for example. So we'll keep an eye on him. But another one of our new drivers is Dayton Coulthard. He's definitely getting stronger and stronger as the season goes on, racing for the Douglas Motorsport team. He's got 2 new right-hand side tyres in this race. So again, a split strategy. Jack Taylor, we were just speaking to his dad. He's gone with 2 new left-hand side tyres, 2 new right-hand side tyres for Dayton. So different strategies from the teams and how to get the most out of their six tyres, 1.5 sets.
Yeah, what with the last 2 drivers you mentioned there, Wilson and Coulthard, 2 names that are very well known in the world of motorsport, of course. Let's take a look then at this new GB4 car. It's the old GB3 car with some modifications.
The GB4 Championship introduces a new car to the series for 2025, the Tartas MSV GB4025. The Tata's MSV GB4025 previously raced in the GB3 Championship between 2022 and 2024, so it's already a hugely proven and well-received machine with excellent levels of reliability and parity. With the all-important Halo cockpit protection device, upgraded safety standards all round, and a revamped technical package. To meet GB4 requirements, the car has single-plane front and rear wings, a naturally aspirated 2-litre 4-cylinder mount-tune engine mounted to a 6-speed SADEV gearbox with paddle shift, bodywork revisions, as well as additional safety upgrades including improved side impact and rollover protection. And that's the new GB4 car for the 2025 season.
Yeah, so that's the car, and obviously all the teams livery them up in their own special way. We can see the car here of Leandro Juncos, very striking car actually, kind of mix of carbon fibre. Most of the cars, apart from maybe the elites, have a lot of carbon fibre on them, with a very striking lime green and white there. Argentinian driver, obviously, son of those involved in Juncos Hollinger in IndyCar. So we've got quite a few names on this grid that's synonymous with motor racing. What with Coulthard, and there's been a few Wilsons over the years that have been decent as well. And Juncos, say again?
Magnussen as well.
Magnussen, of course.
Alex Berg's father. Yeah.
Maserati's over here as well. I mean, maybe I don't know if we're putting them in the same bracket there. Max Maserati is obviously a driver coach. We'll chat to him in just a second. But actually, Leandro's teammate is just ahead of him, a couple of places ahead in the standings, but will be ahead of him on the grid.
Yeah.
And we've seen impressive things from this young man.
Yeah, Dan Ginchard, he's had a fair amount of experience at F4 level. He's done a couple of seasons in other championships, but joining GB4 proper this year, left Donington Park as our championship leader, just relinquished that championship lead yesterday after a good result from our elite drivers at the front of the field. He'll be looking to get back up the grid, but also don't count out Juncos behind. We saw some excellent overtaking moves from him last time out of Donington Park. One of them unfortunately came to a little bit of blows, so he pushed the envelope and a little too far, but this is what these championships are for. These championships are to allow the drivers to learn how to race and get the most out of themselves and the cars.
Talking of names synonymous with racing, we just saw Jonathan Palmer in the background there, the man behind MSV, the man whose GB4 was the brainchild of, and hopefully we'll have a chat with him. He's got his jacket over his shoulder and he looks like he's on a mission to go and speak to someone towards the front of the grid there. So I think we'll leave him for now. We'll catch him maybe before the reverse grid race. Let's move back slowly then. We have the Fortec car of Thomas Ingram Hill here, and we've seen Joseph Loke has been around here, the former GB3 driver and FIA F3 driver last year. You can just see him there just giving Thomas some last minute bits of advice. What kind of advice would you be giving if you were a driver coach right now?
This is last minute words of advice, so it's not actually normally anything new. It's normally just consolidating what you've already discussed. Things like, remember this, we chatted about this, brake late at turn 4, or maybe even the start of the race. Some drivers generally need revving up for the start of the race. Other drivers need calming down, depending on your own psychology and the way your brain works. So that's the sort of things they'll be talking about, and a bit of encouragement normally as well.
Yeah, I love different sponsors. When we have a new season, we have all the kind of sponsors. We've got Southcott Vineyard here, classic English sparkling wine. So we're sponsoring Thomas Ingram Hill. Very nice there. Now we've got one of the car is sponsored by Beef. Which one is that? Let's walk back and see if we can find the Beef Lover. Because I mean, a lot of people have been commenting on the Beef Lover car, which
my
is
favourite livery in 25.
Which is a slightly different one here. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to let you sort of point out the Beef Lover car here, because it's a striking vibe.
Yeah, we caught up with Luca Magnussen at the previous round. He's got a vast array of sponsors on the side of his car, but Sashi is one of his main sponsors, and they apparently are world champions in beef or steaks or something like that.
How on earth do you become a world champion in beef?
I don't know, but it sounds good.
Yeah, speaking as a vegetarian, I don't think I'm qualified to talk about this at all. Maybe we need to do a link up between Mr. Magnussen and Lee, who we just spoke to there, Jack Taylor's dad. Seems to know his beef as well. They were discussing steaks with me, and I had to pretend I knew what they were talking about. But I mean, it's very bold, isn't it? If you could put something on the side of your car for what you love, what would it be if it wasn't beef?
I don't want to discuss that right now.
Yeah, yoga lover.
Sorry?
Yoga lover.
I do like a bit of yoga. It keeps you limber.
Hydration lover. You love a bit of hydration.
We're not getting off topic here, John. Let's keep it to the race.
That's my speciality. Come on, Piers. We've got to fill time. The race before is not finished. Let's move over and tell me more about this young gentleman with KMR Sport.
Well, we spoke to Alex O'Grady in one of before the race weekend started, and he was a driver that was probably quite unlucky coming out of Donington to not show the pace that he potentially had. very strong in qualifying, was right up there, but unfortunately a minor technical infringement after qualifying meant he had to start every single one of the 3 races from the back of the grid. Made up 35 places over the 3 races and still came away in the top 10 in the championship. So a great, resilient drive from Alex. He, at the moment, hasn't secured all the funding for the whole season, so he'll be looking to prove that he can provide some good results and prove to potential sponsors that he can make a good championship out of this. And he's a driver that I think grafts hard behind the scenes, coming over from Ireland as well. So good to have drivers like that on the grid who are grafting, trying to forge a career.
Yeah, and of course we saw what Alex Dunn did in GB3, and he's gone on to do some great things, part of the McLaren Young Driver Programme. Rumours he might be doing an FP1 session soon in Formula One.
Currently leading the F2 Championship, or he did lead it at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
He's also a reserve driver for Formula E. So look at all the different things you can do if you do the GB3 or GB4 Championship. Of course, having Tom Mills, who's just over there to our left, having him as a driver coach, as a former champion, is also a huge coup, really, because when you've got someone that's been there and done it, I know the cars are slightly different, but that's invaluable experience, isn't it? And I know that Sarah Moore is involved with Elite Motorsports, and Sarah Moore is someone we've seen before racing herself. She's been involved in the first ever season of W Series. Having that ex-driver in your ear as a 15-year-old, let's say, just give me an insight into just how important that is.
Just having the experience of someone who's raced and been there, done that, knows what it's like to be in your position is so helpful. Because I say often, sometimes race engineers, they're just thinking about the car and in the perfect world, but of course in racing it's a combination of man and machine is what gets the performance. The machine could be working absolutely perfectly, but if you're not getting it in tune with the driver, you're not going to get the most performance. So that's the sort of thing that's really helpful for the drivers and for the teams as a whole.
Now, looking at these 3 Elite Motorsports cars, the bright yellow cars here, of course we have Ari Bansal as well. What do you expect to see off the line? Because I think they've all been fairly consistent with their starts. Yeah,
they've been fairly consistent. It's going to be interesting to see how the pace goes in this race, because Bansal was arguably the fastest of the 3 at Donington Park in terms of raw lap time. We saw him dominate, I think it was race number 2. And if he can unleash pace like that, we might see a battle between them. But again, you mentioned it's all about how you get off the line, and there's a lot more variables to that, both in terms of your experience starting race cars, but also these specific GB4 cars in 25.
I'm interested to know from a driver's point of view, if you're in the top, let's say top 3 rows of the grid, and you have a moment, that's obviously ruined your great start. How do you keep that mentality together? How do you not just give up and go, because if I'm playing on a sim, if I'm playing on a game, if I'm racing some friends, I'm very quick to go, oh well, what's the point?
Maybe that's why you weren't a racing driver.
Well, that's probably, I don't have that killer instinct that you have. How do you just get back focused after something that happens that maybe isn't even your fault?
You really do have to just compartmentalise and just accept what's happened and almost act like a robot, be like, that's happened, what can I do to minimise the damage, what can I do from this situation? Completely reset. For example, some of these drivers, they might have a bad start away from the line, they might get tagged and drop down the field, but you have to just accept what's happened and say, right, I started in, let's say, 1st place, I'm down in 10th, right, what can I do from here? Think about the race, 1 corner, 1 lap, 1 position at a time, and just take it from there, because that's the mentality that's going to allow you to then get the best result given the bad situation. If you start thinking about, oh, this is unfair, or this happened and it shouldn't be, I should be up there, that's mental energy that you're not using to drive yourself forward and take positions and get points in the race.
Positive mental attitude.
Absolutely.
Lover. That's what you can have inside your car. We've sorted it out.
Maybe.
I asked earlier on in the GB3 broadcast for people to drop questions wherever you're watching right now, so feel free to do that if you're watching and you have a burning question you want to know. I had a question in from Barry, actually, and it's about the helmets. One of the young drivers we saw there, I can't remember which one it was, had a kind of, obviously drivers have different brands of helmets, had a bit of plastic on the back there. Is that an aerodynamic thing? What's the reason for that?
Yeah, a lot of the helmets, they come as a dome shape, and then you can get a spoiler on it, which effectively just breaks off the air that goes around the back of the helmet and stops the air buffeting your head around as much and makes the airflow over the back of the car a little bit cleaner, more for comfort. In Formula One, they're a bit more bespoke and they actually use it as part of the aerodynamics of the car. But in GB4, when everyone's got the same car, it's just more driver comfort. And you might also see some drivers have one on their little thing on their chin as well, just to increase the air into the helmet as well for comfort.
And of course, let's not get started on things like knee pads and things like that. That's for another day. Let's remind ourselves then, as the cars get ready to go out, what the GB4 Championship is all about.
The GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, is run by MSV's racing arm, MSVR. The 2025 season will feature drivers as young as 15 driving the brand new Tartas MSV GB4 025. Each race weekend consists of 1 qualifying session, which will set the grid for 3 18-minute races, the final of which features a top 12 reverse grid, which will see the pole sitter pushed into the middle of the pack. There are 21 races in the 2025 season across 7 rounds and 5 circuits, with the calendar starting at Donington Park. Then it's on to the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone at the end of April, Oulton Park in May, Snetterton in the middle of July, with both a return to Silverstone and the penultimate round of the season at Brands Hatch both in August. This is before returning to the scene of the start of the championship at Donington Park in October. There are no required pit stops in GB4, but each car is only allowed a maximum of 6 dry Pirelli tyres each race weekend, the equivalent of 1.5 sets, meaning tyre management is a critical feature. There are multiple prizes on offer in the 2025 campaign, including £50,000 to the 2025 GB4 champion towards their 2026 GB3 campaign, as well as the George Russell Pole Position Cup, which rewards each driver on pole position with £150. The driver with the most pole positions at the end of the season will win an extra £1,000 and the George Russell Pole Position Cup, with a further £1,000 going to the team of the driver with the most pole positions. Should the top female driver in GB4 this year secure a seat in F1 Academy next season, MSV will contribute €50,000 to her budget for that campaign.
I was chatting not long ago about Luke Hilton starting from the outside of the second row, the 17-year-old, and he's a new driver to the GB4 Championship, but not new to racing. And I'm going to wander in and grab a word with Luke's engineer mechanic. We're grabbing a word with you. Remind everyone at home your name.
Steve.
Steve. Luke has had great pace at times. Yesterday's race was a struggle. How has he mentally brought himself back today to the circuit?
He's good. He's gone back and he's reassessed everything. He's prepared well. Yeah,
he's pretty mentally strong, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good.
But
He's in good spirits today.
Good. I could see that he was, disappointed after yesterday's race, unfortunately getting shuffled backwards. But a lot of the drivers, they have to learn about how to move their way back in the field and then reset for the next day, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. If you carry on thinking about it, you never move on from it.
Absolutely.
So he's good.
Brilliant. Well, Steve, we'll see how Luke gets on in this one. I expect him to at least have a good one. We'll wander a bit further back. I'm going to grab a word with a couple of other personalities on the grid here, starting with Joseph Loke. Actually, why don't we grab Dan Hickey? Dan, a previous driver in GB4 Championship. You're here supporting the Fortec team. Good to see, especially Jack, doing so well this weekend.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Obviously, I did worked a lot with Jack last year as my teammate. It's really good, really nice to see Jack fighting at the front this year, and hopefully he can get on the podium again today.
What do you reckon he can do in this race?
Well, we'll see. I mean, he did well yesterday, making up a couple of spots. So I think I'm feeling positive about him. So we'll see what he can do.
We'll see what he can do. Thanks very much, Dan. Dan Hickey, former GB4 driver. We'll grab Joseph Loke now as well. Joseph, former GB3 Championship contender, Formula 3 driver last year. You're doing a bit of coaching with the Fortec team, and you're clearly doing a half-decent job.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming a long way. When I first got to meet all of the guys here, they needed a bit of work. There was just a lot of inexperienced things that was going on. Obviously Tom and Luca are both new to the championship. I think Jack had a bit of a tough time last year, so the fact that he's up at the front now fighting is really nice. Obviously for me, it's nice to be able to help him improve as well. But he's really improving a lot, and it's really nice to see.
Without giving away any trade secrets, what sort of specifics are you working on with the drivers?
Obviously it's different for every driver. I find that they all have their different traits. They all need to work on different things. For Jack, I think he tends to be a bit too quick with his hands a little bit, so trying to get him to calm down a little bit in there.
Keep it smooth.
Yeah, keep it smooth. The technique stuff and just keeping it all nice and planned out how it should be.
Amazing. Joseph, thank you very much for catching up with us. Great to hear about what they're working on behind the scenes, John.
Tell you what, I've seen something, Piers. You can explain this to me. Some serious downforce on this one over here. Look, we've got 3 front wings on this. What's the issue there? Just a lack of performance?
Yeah, I don't think that's a regulation front end setup on a GB4 car, but that's all the spare wings that the teams. I think that's Fortec's front wings. Is it Fortec? Yeah, it is. They'll take those to the pit lane in case of any damage on the first couple of laps.
Well, something you don't see on the broadcast here is while we're going to the titles, all of these trucks here with all of the tyres and with the front wings, they will rush back now down to the pit lane, and it's kind of like a funny procession really. You expect everything to be calm and collected, and it's like a frantic dash to get into place. Yeah. And maybe one day we'll film that because we'll play it in at some point.
It's like the first race ahead of the main race is the quad bikes down to the assembly area from all the teams.
It is. Let's move towards the front here, because I've been told there's a guy called Josh from Elite working with Alex Catoulis, and he's very keen to talk to us on the broadcast. I don't know whether that's one of his team members stitching him up. I have a feeling it is. It's this chap here. Do you want to go and just have a word with him? His name's Josh.
I don't know if we've got time.
Oh, well, I don't know if we've got time. I think we might have to go to the broadcast. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll speak to Josh another time. Let's probably just get out of the way, because the last thing we want to do is get run over by a record grid of GB4 cars. I think we might have had time to speak to Josh after all that. It's quite funny, actually. People come up to us, don't they? And they say, oh, so-and-so will speak to you. It's never them volunteering to come and talk to us themselves. Anyway, you heard that whistle. The cars are going out behind us, which means for round 5 of the GB4 Championship, it's time to go racing.
Round 5 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, about ready to get underway with a new championship leader in Alexandros Katoulis. It was a fantastic drive to victory yesterday as he leads the championship by 10 points over Dan Ginchard and Isaac Phelps. Can he win again from pole position? Well, that's the question that will be answered after 18 minutes of racing around the Silverstone circuit. Of course, the full Grand Prix loop, as you can see, the run down through Maggots, Beckers and Chapel, through Stowe, that of course, fantastic section through Village, Loop, Aintree, where we see so many overtakes, at least attempts, some big moments as well. Brooklands and Nuffield to end the lap as they head back out onto the start-finish straight on the national side. Those 18 turns, of which in GB4 we see overtakes at every single one. A very flat circuit, of course, only 11.3 metres of elevation change across the entire circuit in its 3.6 mile running. It was a great race yesterday. It was exciting. Once again, Elite asserting their dominance on the GB4 Championship in 2025. And they look even stronger here because after qualifying, after everyone takes their second fastest laps, which is what sets the grid here for race number 2, it's an Elite 1, 2 and 3. Of course, they did finish in 1, 2, 3 back in Donington Park in the second race of the season. They'll have a little bit of work to do that here today, defending from the field behind. It's going to be a tricky one. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a very interesting one, that is for sure. Lewis McGlade, Piers Pryor in the commentary booth. It's lovely out there, isn't it?
It's absolutely wonderful spring day to go GB4 racing, Lewis, and here is the grid.
So Alex Katoulis will be starting from first position alongside Isaac Phelps, who won the opening race of 2025. Harry Bansell from third position, also a race winner. Luke Hilton in fourth position, a little bit of a struggle when it comes to race pace. Yesterday, Leon Wilson will start from fifth position alongside Jack Taylor in sixth, who grabbed that fantastic podium, his second of his career. Dayton Coulthard will start from seventh alongside Dan Ginchard, who came into this weekend as the championship leader, hoping to find that race pace that they had back in Donington Park. Thomas Ingram Hill from ninth, with Leandro Juncos starting from 10th place. Then outside of the top 10, it's Jason Pyrrell and Callum Baxter starting slightly better than he did yesterday. Is Baxter needs to find some form because the GBR cars did look pretty quick when it came to their race pace. Alex O'Grady in 13th position and Luca Magnussen from 14th position for the Fortec Motorsports team, back on row number 7. Row 8 will see Ava Dobson and Enzo Holman in the Douglas Motorsport car, a fair way off his teammate Luke Hilton, who's starting off because he's back up there on the second row of the grid. Then it's Alex Berg and Maya Dianarine making it all Graham Brunton racing here on row number 9 before we get to row 10, where it's Megan Bruce and Josh McLean, who did have a big moment on lap 1 going through Stowe in the previous race. Holly Mile and Nian Evans will be starting from 22nd position, with the final couple of rows seeing Lily Mae Watkins and Caitlin McDaniel, the 24th and final car on the grid. So let's talk history. Because we are currently, if you account for last season as well and this season, we're on a 7 different race winner streak, right? Which is always a bit of fun. But if we account for it in one single season, the maximum streak has been 4 previously. We are at 4 different winners from 4 different races.
Consecutive races.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you think we'll get 5 from 5, or do you think Katoulis is going to run away with this one?
It's all about the start. I think Bansell is potentially the one to look at. He had great pace at Donington Park a few weeks ago. If he can get a good start, then I think Katoulis will be feeling the pressure. Although it could be any of the top 3, or even that man on the outside of row 2, Luke Hilton. He's had good pace as well. I think he's due a good result. Didn't get to show the pace and quality that he had at Donington Park, in my opinion. And also race number 1 as well, struggled a little bit, did have a poor start. That's a 32 car right there. We're lining up on the grid now. Jack Taylor in the 50. He's also been pretty strong, and then don't count out Leon Wilson too, the number 27 red with white flashes, the Arden car of Wilson. He's one of the most experienced drivers on this grid, and him starting inside the top 6 places means that he's got an opportunity for at least a podium.
So the drivers that have won this season, just so you know, so we're looking for, because we like stats and stuff. Well, I do anyway, that's why I've got spreadsheets and stuff. It's Alex Catoulis, then it's Isaac Phelps, Ari Bansal and Alex Berg. They are the winners so far this season. So if we get an Elite Motorsports winner or Alex Berg taking victory, Alex Berg's probably not going to take victory from 17th on the grid, but you never know, then that streak will end. And I think look, if we're being realistic here, it's probably going to be an elite driver. They've got 1, 2 and 3 on the grid. They've got incredible speed. I do hope Luke Hilton finds that pace that he obviously showed in qualifying and struggled to show a little bit in the race yesterday as he was kind of attacked. Obviously, it's 18 minutes, so it'll be 9 laps of racing effectively around this circuit unless we get safety car interventions as they all roll themselves into position. It'll be Catoulis in control then from the pole position. Will he be able to hang on to that though down into turn 1? Or will he have a struggle start like he had yesterday? The lights are on and we are racing down to the first corner. And once again, it is a better start from Isaac Phelps on the inside of that front row. He had a better start yesterday, but was unable to take the race lead. This time though, it works out in favour, and Isaac Phelps in the 35 has taken over the race lead from his teammate Catoulis. So it's Phelps leading from Catoulis, and I believe Ari Bansal's still hanging on. And there is Luke Hilton dropping back behind Jack Taylor. The 50 of Jack Taylor in that white and red Fortec car comes through into 4th, getting past the bright blue Douglas car of Luke Hilton.
Yeah, Hilton yesterday was very aggressive at the start, which allowed him to get into 2nd place down towards Maggots and Beckett's, but too aggressive yesterday he was. Today, potentially a little bit conservative. He was on the inside of, I think it was Bansal going through turn 1, and now he's lost a place to Jack Taylor and also under pressure from the 27 of Leon Wilson. But right behind Wilson is the Douglas teammate of Dayton Coulthard, who's showing good early race pace at this stage.
There was a bit of a lock-up on the front right, I believe, there from Hilton as well. Just a little one. There's some defensive action happening in behind. It's Callum Baxter in the 45 trying to get down the inside there of Alex O'Grady in the grey and blue KMR Sport car that sat in the middle. Obviously, just behind Jason Pribble in that other grey and blue car, but it's got pink highlights on Pribble's car. So at least there's that battling happening just out the back end of the top 10. This is back up towards Hilton, trying to get on. Whoa, there's a big incident in the background. Someone has gone off at Abbey.
Yeah, car's gone all the way down the escape road and taken out a lot of the polystyrene boards. That is Luca Magnussen's car for Fortec Motorsport. It looks like he's stalled as well. We hope he can get running again to avoid any in-race stoppages. That was a move from the Fortec car, the number 8 of Thomas Ingram Hill on the inside of Junkos. Okay, Magnussen's got going again, but it looks like he's got some minor damage. But at the front of the field, it's Phelps going for the lead on the inside of Catoulis. He's taken... Or is it the other way? Oh, is it Catoulis looking around the outside of Phelps?
Yeah, it certainly is. So it's the 35 there. The race leader is Isaac Phelps. Obviously took the race lead down into the first corner. Catoulis started from pole position and dominated yesterday. Is looking to try and take over the race lead. He's in the number 51 car, and there is Luca Magnussen out of the car. So there's clearly some more problems. They head up towards turn 1 at Copse. Catoulis on the outside. Isaac Phelps on the inside in the 35, and it's Phelps hanging on. The trio of elite running 1st, 2nd and 3rd and dominating at the moment.
Yeah, we just joined this battle as they were going down towards Brooklands, and it was Catoulis that got almost completely alongside and slightly ahead of Phelps into Brooklands, but a good defensive drive through here. That move could be critical for Phelps, because if that car of Luca Magnussen stays where it is, we're potentially likely to get a safety car at this stage, and that will consolidate the lead that Phelps has. It's still an elite 1, 2, 3, but look at that car there in the number 50, Jack Taylor. He has 2 brand new left-hand side tyres. None of the top 3 elite cars from my looking on the grid had that advantage. So especially the right-hand corners around this circuit, that 50 Fortec car in the back of shot with white with the red highlights might have a bit of a tyre advantage, at least for the first 2/3 of this race.
John has had a good chat with Jack Taylor's dad, Lee. You also had a good chat with his driver coach as well, Joseph Loke. Jack Taylor this season, we've said before about the amazing step forward that he's had in 2025, and he's showing it here. Could he potentially take this race victory away from elite? There is potential. Overtaking can happen round here as the double waved yellows as they head their way through Abbey and then through the farm curve into the village and loop section. Green flags back out, and so they are able to race. No note from race control, so I think they're going to invest investigate and see if they can get that car moved out of the way without requiring a safety car intervention.
Yeah, the only note is that Holly Miles' transponder is a bit intermittent, so if she jumps up and down on the leaderboard, then that is why. It looks like side-by-side at the background, that's Junkos of the 77, but we keep an eye on this battle at the front of the field. I think the safety car has just been released. Yeah, there's Luca Magnussen. We didn't see the start of that incident, but he was going side-by-side. Who is it? Well, I can't remember who it was. It may well have been Junkos, actually. That might be I don't know. It might be slander. But anyway, safety car has been deployed. But Luca Magnussen just probably got forced two wheels onto the grass going into Abbey Corner. Luckily, there's a lot of runoff there, but clearly he sustained some minor damage and has pulled off, which has caused this safety car. But at the front of the field, it is Phelps that keeps the lead. That defensive move on the previous lap on Catullus has proved critical.
Obviously, Abbey is an extremely fast corner. I'm assuming it's flat in these cars, right?
It will be flat out on qualifying, I'm almost certain, and maybe not quite flat out if you're in the dirty air of the cars in front. Gotcha. As we saw Luke Hilton yesterday run wide a couple of times there yesterday, didn't he? And unfortunately for Hilton, it's another poor start. He's actually down another 4 places on this lap as well, out of camera shot. He's down into 10th place from 4th on the grid, so another torrid start to the race for Luke. Actually, it looks like so he's still going, but yeah, down the bottom end of the top 10. The highest placed Douglas car is now the 28 of Coulthard. That's his strongest showing so far this year. Yeah,
Dayton Coulthard looking pretty strong. Qualified a lot better this round than he did at the previous round, looking a lot stronger already. So having learnt quite decently, of course, they're all picked up behind the safety car. Still in elite 1, 2, 3. So it's Isaac Phelps leading from Catullus, leading from Bansal, those elite cars 1, 2 and 3. Then it's Jack Taylor, Leon Wilson, then Dayton Coulthard, then Dan Ginchard, with Thomas Ingram Hill, then of course Junkos and Hilton, the top 10. Bit of a shame for Hilton, but to be fair, again, the qualifying pace is there. We were talking about him as being a potential driver to keep an eye on throughout the season back in Donington Park, and that's kind of, it is being shown here. There are those cracks in the race, and that's, I wouldn't necessarily say that's a bad thing, because the pace is there. You can see that in qualifying. It's just fixing whatever's going wrong in the races.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you get that sorted, then we'll have more consistent running at the front of the field. But seeing, I mean, if you're any of the drivers not in the top 3 at the moment, just seeing a wall of yellow in front of you, you're going to be wanting to try and break that up, aren't you? Because it's not something that any of the other drivers on the grid want. And it's not due to anything other than that all 3 of those elite drivers are clearly driving very well, and elite are giving them a good car, because in qualifying they're not miles clear. They're just able to get the job done.
Yeah, and you know, they're all paying for those. There's no team orders. They're not going to be working together aggressively. Obviously, they want to see an elite victory, but all of those drivers, you know, Phelps, Catullus, Bansal, they'll all be sitting there being, I want it to be me winning this race. So, you know, whilst they're fighting amongst themselves, there could be the potential for Jack Taylor to maybe pick up some pieces. The safety car lights have gone out then, and we did obviously have a safety car in the GB3 race earlier on in the day, and it was, of course, Freddie Slater who was leading that, and went right now. So he went coming out of Brooklands. I think Isaac Phelps is going to hold that one a little bit longer and maybe attack the track whilst we depart Luffield. Goes out wide here. We'll try and get a very good exit. Puts the foot right the way down, and with 10 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, we are back racing. Should be around 6 laps from 5 laps rather from this point as we'll get back racing. Isaac Phelps in control. Catullus though with a really good restart is right on the rear end of Isaac Phelps heading down to the cops.
Yeah, it's a good restart from Catullus in 2nd place. Stayed with Phelps out of the first corner. Bansal dropping a little bit further back. He's going to potentially be under pressure. Although good turn 1 from Bansal. He's right on the back of his teammates. It's Taylor in 4th place that's dropped a bit off this trio at the front of the field, and we've got Ginchard, who's had a decent race so far. He's right under the rear wing of Dayton Coulthard. Look out for a move from him going down towards Stowe.
Yeah, indeed. Dependent on pace, by the way, we might be able to get that 6th lap and still make it a 9-lap race, but at the moment it's a bit 50-50 and heads or tails on that. There's Dayton Coulthard going on the defence. Dan Ginchard in the red and black hill speed car straight to the outside, and Ginchard making it stick around the outside of Stowe. That is a fantastic move. That shows as to why he was the championship leader leaving Donington Park. park. Straight to the inside to defend. There's Jason Pribble making an attack on the inside of Alex O'Grady with the pink highlighted grey car there. Just trying to make the move on O'Grady. That one's for 11th, and Pribble's been sent round.
Yeah, that's a move that you see quite often. If the driver on the inside going into Vale, if there's side-to-side contact, because your car is braking and turning at the same time, a little bit of contact can just send you round. But just a word on Ginchard's move around the outside of Stowe. That is a great show of experience there from Ginchard. A well-measured move as further dicing down the field. That's Tom Ingram-Hill coming together with Dayton Coulthard.
Yeah, squeezing Coulthard out wide, so Coulthard's going to squeeze over here. You've also got Leandro Junkos making a big slide in the background of that 77 white, black and green car, the pace performance machine, and yeah, he's slid out. Dayton Coulthard's rejoined right in front. There's Pribble's car being pushed out of the way, and the battle for the race lead's also happening. It's still Isaac Phelps leading in the number 35, the 51 of Catullus, and the 46 of Ari Bansal. The three elite cars all doing battle for victory here in the 5th race of the season.
It's all kicking off about halfway into this race, the second race here at Silverstone. It was contact from Tom Ingram-Hill and Dayton Coulthard that caused a bit of a battle in the midfield. Coulthard's dropped down now. I think he may get a look in from the stewards emitting part of the circuit. We'll keep an eye on that for you right now. A track limit warning coming in for the number 55. That is Ava Dobson down the rear end of the field. She's currently in 14th place. She got a penalty 5 seconds yesterday. Junkos has made it through on Hilton and Coulthard.
Thomas Ingram-Hill, by the way, has just rolled through pit lane past our commentary box, and so we'll have a little bit of work done on the car, I'm sure. Is there any damage? Yes, there is. There's damage to Alex O'Grady's car. That's the number 3 in the middle of shot there. What is that part?
That is just purely the cover of the suspension. It's just creeping up at the moment. I don't think that's an issue. Potentially adding a small amount more drag, but O'Grady won't be worrying about that as he's now right under the rear wing of Coulthard. Coulthard just dropping backwards now, potentially partly due to the dirt he picked up on his tyres going on the inside of the loop last time back. His tyres will be clean by now, but the momentum is now backwards, and you can see the train of cars behind him. He's got, as we go to the yellow flag zone, he's got the KMR Sport car there, then followed by 2 Graham Brunton cars, 3 Graham Brunton cars in a line, and then the 55 of Dobson.
Yes, Mayadea Nareen in the 44, the lead of those Graham Brunton racing cars. Then you've got Alex Berg, and then you've got Callum Baxter as well. So those are the ones that are sat behind Alex O'Grady at the moment in the fight to get inside the top 10, which Dayton Coulthard is currently holding on to. Safety car has been deployed for the 2nd time in the race. And what I was going to say about we were going to have 5 laps, 4 laps left to go from this point, that will obviously be slightly reduced. This race is a timed race, 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. We'll probably lose one of the laps, and it'll be an 8-lap contest. So, you know, it depends how long the safety car's out for.
Yes, the Marshal's done a great job manually moving that. Look at the strength. Look at the strength of those guys. Great job from our Orange Army to get the car out of the way as quickly as possible. We may only have 1 lap under safety car, which would be great, so we get some more GB4 racing. It's been close so far. We lost Tom Ingram-Hill, didn't we, on that previous lap? Is he still in the pits? I think he may well be. Yes. We'll confirm that later on. But anyway, he'd come in the pits probably due to that contact with Dayton Coulthard, either because of a puncture or further damage, or just to get the car checked over. It looked like a little bit of a clumsy move, in my opinion, from Tom Ingram-Hill. Although he did get all the way alongside, so maybe we need another angle of that. But let's look at what happened to Pribble. Up the inside of O'Grady, didn't quite get alongside enough, I don't think, from that angle. Again, only one front-on angle, and then maybe this is... there's Tom Ingram-Hill again. Actually... I take it back. I think that was a bit of a racing incident there. Tom Ingram-Hill was completely alongside at the apex, and the contact was quite late in the corner. So sorry, Tom, my first opinion was wrong. I think we'll have to leave that one to the stewards to decide if there was any fault to be applied there.
It's going to be a super awkward interview between you and him if the team let him know what you've been saying on this broadcast.
Sorry, Tom. I say what I see, and so, you know, we're only human here. We don't get it right all the time.
I'd never get it right. Not even with some assistance from a spreadsheet. It's fine. Obviously 5 minutes left to go in the race, and the Marshal's working hard to get Pribble's car out of the way so we can get going with probably 4 minutes left to go. So it probably would be 2 laps left if we were to get back going at the end of this lap. A couple of notes I want to talk about. Obviously Luca Magnussen going off the road down into Abbey obviously took out the Pirelli advertising board, right? Would that have any impact? Because obviously I know it's not a braking zone, but you do use a lot of those boards and stuff as reference when driving around, particularly in braking zones. But will that affect maybe your turning point or something like that?
Yeah, the drivers use the polystyrene boards at the edge of the circuit as markers for and references, because a big flat circuit like Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, you're travelling so fast, there's so little stuff near the circuit, the barriers are so far away, you need to rely on other peripheral items like one of those Pirelli boards that you can see on the right-hand side of the shot there. There's the remnants of the one with the stick where it originally was still being in place. Not a huge difference into Abbey, because it is a nearly flat-out corner, and your eyes at that point are already over towards the apex and the exit of the corner. But if it was into somewhere like this corner here at Village, it would be more of an issue. We're getting word that the safety car is coming in this lap, so we're going to go racing for about 3 more minutes, so that will be another couple of laps, won't it, Lewis?
Yeah, certainly. So it will be 2 laps of running the top 10 at the moment. Isaac Phelps still leads the race. He's been defending hard from Catulus, and I get the feeling that that is going to get more and more aggressive between the lot as we look into the BRDC grandstand. Catulus in second position with Ari Bansal in third, Jack Taylor in fourth. Then it's Leon Wilson, who actually set the fastest first sector of the race on the previous racing lap. That is Dan Ginchard, Leandro Juncos, Hilton, Coulthard and O'Grady, the top 10. So the control once again handed over to Isaac Phelps. He went wide at Luffield, and I think it's exactly the same as what he's going to do now, but he didn't have the greatest start. Catulus really went with him, and once again he's holding even longer. Now he goes, so Isaac Phelps slaps his right foot down, and we are back racing again here at Silverstone with 3 minutes left to go. It's closer between Bansal and Catulus than it is between Catulus and Phelps, so that battle for second position is the one where we're going to be putting our eyes. There was a little bit of a look from Ari Bansal in the 46, the third of those bright yellow cars at the front of the field, but no switches into turn 1.
No switch for the front of the field, although Ginchard going wide further down the field, followed also by his teammate of Juncos, and I think that was Hilton following them through. Yeah, that would have been Hilton, the leading of the two. Douglas at the moment, side by side, through Maggots and Beckett's go Leon Wilson in the 27 and Jack Taylor in the 50, and getting involved as well is Dan Ginchard in that hill speed car behind.
Yeah, Ginchard will be staring at this, rubbing his hands together. Well, probably keep his hands on the steering wheel, but that's fine. He'll be looking for, yeah, exactly. He'll be looking for a good move here as Jack Taylor will defend in the number 50 car. The 27 of Leon Wilson looks to the inside. He was looking on the outside, sends it straight back to the inside. The penultimate lap of the race here. Jack Taylor's going to go out wide. He could be vulnerable by the time they get into the chicane, but no, he's done a good job holding himself around the outside there, and now Wilson's having to defend from Ginchard.
Oh, Ginchard's going all the way around the outside of Vale. That'll be a brilliant move. That puts him on the inside for Club. Another excellent move from Dan Ginchard. Is there no yellow flag? No, the Pribble's car is well out of the way, so no yellow flag that I could see. So great move from Ginchard, but now he's under pressure from his own teammate of Juncos, who managed to get through on Wilson as well.
Yeah, and Juncos in the 77. Yes, they're different liveries, but yes, they are the same team. You've got the red and black there of Dan Ginchard, the white, green and black of Leandro Juncos, the black, the red and white of Wilson that sat directly behind that, but Dan Ginchard making some important moves to move inside the top 5. 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go as we head back out onto the Wellington Straight, meaning we're getting ready to start the final lap with Isaac Phelps continuing to lead. It looks like the streak of different race winners is going to come to a close.
Yes, Phelps currently leading the way, defending from his teammate, but we've looked further back. It's now Coulthard on the outside of Leon Wilson going into Brooklands corner, and can he get that done? He's gone all the way around the outside. That will be a great move, and look who's involved in this as well. That's the KMR Sport driver of Alex O'Grady. He's looking to pick up the pieces. Still side by side we come out of the last corner.
Yeah, indeed, this is brilliant racing once more as the battling continues. Coulthard will have the inside line in that bright blue car, the Douglas Motorsport car going down into Copson turn 1. The 27 of Wilson's going to go out wide onto the marbles. Could he run wide and off the circuit? Yes, he does. So just a little bit deep there at the first corner, and so Dayton Coulthard has now taken over that position into the pit lane. Comes Luke Hilton after qualifying so well. Hilton has worked his way back into pit lane.
Yeah, Hilton was right involved in this battle. We didn't see why he's come into the pit, so potentially some sort of mechanical gremlin that we aren't privy to at this stage, but really disappointing for Hilton. He had a poor start, was working his way back up the grid, but in the pits he's not going to get a huge amount of points, if any, in this one. Looking further down the order, that's the 76 further down going defending on Ava Dobson. The 76 is Josh McLean. But back to the front of the field, this trio at the front, the elite trio, is still battling it out for the win.
Yeah, indeed. They had a 1-2-3, of course, in the second race at Donington Park. It was a first for the GB4 Championship. They've qualified 1, 2 and 3 in this race. That's exactly how they're running, pulling clear of Jack Taylor whilst all the battling still happening behind. Isaac Phelps' second restart then to the race has worked out to perfection as way out wide goes Ari Bansal going through the farm curve.
Yeah, I don't know how Bansal managed to miss the apex farm. Normally easy flat out, but maybe he'd run a bit wide actually on the exit of Abbey. That's easily done. So Bansal just dropping off the back. He will probably finish in 3rd place. We cut back. Is there more drama going on further back? No, but still under pressure is our leader, Phelps. Will Catoulas have a look into the final sector? He's just not quite close enough to launch an attack, I don't think, but we've got battling further back as well.
Yeah, indeed. Here we go then. So into Brooklands. There was a bit of a look from Catoulas. Isaac Phelps has been pushed offline just ever so slightly. He takes a very tight line through Luffield. Could be a drag race between the two of them. The 35 of Isaac Phelps will leave the final corner and push his way up towards the line. One of these drivers is going to be the first 2-time winner of 2025, and it will be Isaac Phelps across the line to win the 2nd race here at Silverstone and win round number 5 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. Obviously a very happy elite team, as it is a 1, 2 and a 3 for the 2nd time this season. That is a fantastic effort. Ari Bansal dropping off the rear end of Catoulas in 3rd position. And of course, all those drag races behind. Taylor, Ginchard, Junkos, great drive into 6th. Interestingly, Ginchard set the fastest lap of the race there.
On that last lap as well. So Ginchard with good late race pace. That bodes well for race number 3 later on, the partially reverse grid races. He will be using, well, they will all be using well-worn tyres, so if he's been looking after those, he could be coming on strong, starting slightly further towards the front of the grid than this trio of elite motorsport cars. A lot of yellow we've seen this season so far, the 2nd podium lockout for elite motorsport. They will be very, very happy with that one.
Yeah, obviously, you know, we say about how close things are at the top of the championship between the drivers, at least. The teams, yeah, there is absolutely no doubt as to who is leading the team's championship. Elite have been incredible, and where we've spoken about this championship in the 3 years that we've run, obviously the same teams won all 3 of the championships. That's KMR Sport or Kevin Mills Racing, as it was back in 2022. That's not happening this year. That's a bold prediction.
It's not looking likely. It'll be a strong resurgence from any other teams to come up with a championship challenge ahead of 3 very strong drivers for the Elite Motorsport team. If they can keep banging in consistent results like this, Elite are going to be in a good position for that. But you know, let's not count out a drivers' championship challenge from any of the likes of Taylor, Ginchard, Junkos, even the likes of, I don't know, who knows, Wilson or Hilton. You know, the drivers that we've seen that have been challenging those elite motorsport drivers. There's a long way to go. Only 5 races in so far this season. A lot more to come.
Yeah, if Jack Taylor can keep up that you know, transition of form when it comes to his speed and consistency, which he's obviously been building on quite a lot with the assistance there of Joseph Loke.
And team, not just Joseph.
No, it's true. But Joseph Loke coming into that team and helping him, he's worked his way forward, and it is looking a lot stronger and a lot more comfortable in this season. Also, it could also be a little bit of the car. Obviously, this car is not the same car that we were racing for the last 3 years, and certainly for Jack Taylor's case then the last year. And those cars can change and work a little bit better for you as a driver.
I've been hearing that because it's a carryover car from the chassis of the car carries over from GB3, that the teams that have run in GB3 are able to use a lot of the same philosophies, which is why teams like Fortec and Elite are doing so well so far. But this is the man of the day, Isaac Phelps. Brilliant drive, started well, got into the lead, defended when he needed to, and got the job done. His 2nd win of the season, our first double winner in 2025.
Yep, the streak is over then. So 4 different winners to start out the season, of course, and that will remain at 4. And the 7-race win streak of different winners, obviously that is also over from the end of last season to now as well. Obviously we'll be updating with the championship order after they've gone through the podium ceremony. But I can tell you that Isaac Phelps is not the championship leader, so at least there is that news to throw out to you. It's 122 points for Catoulas, and Isaac Phelps is on 118, so he's just 4 points behind, but does become the first 2-time winner. Obviously, the main thing for Isaac Phelps was the lack of points scored in the 3rd race at Donington Park after a couple of issues. Not really, his phone's gotten really involved in basically everything in the reverse grid, but once again, bouncing back nice and strong, and taking a very well-deserved victory from 2nd place on the grid. Was attacking for the race lead as well on the run into turn 1 in the previous race. Maybe held a little bit too tight of a line, and it cost him. He clearly learnt from it. Let's head down to John Jackson to catch up with the top 3.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lewis. We're going to have to be very quick here because the British GT paddock grid walk's at me in a second. Just let him get his stuff. Isaac, quick word on that second win of the season for you. How was that out there for you?
Yeah, that was really tough. Like the conditions was the track was really ungrippy, to be honest. Like so it was really hard to figure out that, but also keep Alex behind me because he was just so fast. And like I would probably have a bit better pace than him throughout the whole lap. And then in the hairpins, he just had some good pace on me. And then down the straight with the toe, it was just really scary every lap into the Brooklands.
But you did well to get past him. Talk me through that move.
Yeah, the start was just I had a really good reaction time and a really good launch. So yeah, it just got really good alongside him and then nearly cleared him by the corner. So I was just able to get the lead. And in single-seater racing, the start is what matters. So yeah, I'm really happy to get that done.
Yeah, nice one. Great for Elite Motorsport as well to completely lock out the podium. Congratulations. We'll let you get your trophy.
Thank you.
Here we go. Let's go and speak to Alex Catoulis really quickly. Alex, congratulations very quickly. A win yesterday and a second place today. Great weekend so far for you.
Yeah, for sure. Good points.
Is that all you need to say?
Yeah.
I love that. We haven't got a lot of time actually because British GT's coming. So
okay.
We'll look forward to seeing you in the reverse grid race. What can you achieve?
Just not sure to be honest, but just get a good start and go from there. Stay out of trouble. So.
Excellent stuff. Best of luck with that. There we go. Happy and not sure. Congratulations for your podium. I mean, brilliant for Elite Motorsport, isn't it, to completely lock out the grid, yellow everywhere.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, what we're doing is working, and yeah, team's doing good.
And obviously, you were hoping to sort of push on, maybe a challenge for second and first there, but a little bit challenging with your teammates in such good form as you.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, teammates are good, and yeah, it's very close. Everything's quite close, and once one mistake can lead me to, for them to pull away.
It's good to have rivalry. Congratulations. We'll let you go and get your trophy. There we go, an Elite Motorsport lockout. The podium is all yellow as Lewis McGlade will talk you through the presentation.
Indeed, I will, yes. Once again, it is a 1-2-3 as we had at Donington Park. It was Ari Bansal who won then from Isaac Phelps and Alexandros Catoulis, and this time it is Isaac Phelps from Catoulis and then from Bansal. Those three drivers, I can see them go in the distance as a team, staying incredibly close. Of course, the important thing and the reason why Catoulis still has the championship lead is because of his consistency when it comes to his race results, in the sense of in the 5 races, both Phelps and Bansal have had one race where they haven't scored. For Ari Bansal, it was the first race of the season after contact with Jack Taylor. For Isaac Phelps, it was the 3rd race of the season at Donington Park after contact in the reverse grid race. Meanwhile, Alexandros Catoulis has not had contact in... Oh, I'm sure he's had a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit back in Donington Park, but has just kept out of trouble, has finished 3rd, 6th, 1st and 2nd. So obviously it's yet another podium, meaning of course after 5 races he's had 4 podiums, which means he's been on the podium 80% of the time here in his GB4 career, which is very impressive indeed. I actually wonder if that might be the highest percentage in GB4's history when it comes to percentage of podiums. I will investigate that and I'll give you the number in a second, because it is actually the driver in 2nd on the all-time percentage list anyway is Cooper Webster, who was on the podium 75% of the time in his season, obviously back in 2023. For Catoulis, obviously I know we're talking about early days in the season here, being just 5 races complete, but still 4 podiums, 80%. Puts him up to number 1, at least when it comes to the percentages. When it comes to overall podiums count, they've got a long way to go to get to the 22 that was accounted for by Tom Mills, who did the opening couple of seasons. There onto the podium then, it's Ari Bansal, and then of course it's Catoulis. For Elite, and for Elite once more, it's Isaac Phelps onto the top step. He won the very first race of the season, and of course winning the 5th one here as well. Jonathan Palmer, the chief executive of MSV, once again ready to hand out those trophies, and I'm sure this trio of drivers will be seeing an awful lot of Jonathan Palmer this season, because with still a long way left to go, still 16 races in the 2025 season. There's going to be a few more podiums shared between this trio, I'm absolutely sure. Onto the top step they go, ready for their photographs after what has been yet another brilliant race in 2025 from the Elite Motorsports team. Let's go then to highlights for the race. Highlights from round number 5 of the GB4 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and once again it was a very good start down into the first corner from Isaac Phelps, getting alongside his teammate Alex Catoulis and taking over the race lead by the time they left that opening corner, with Ari Bansal trying to find his way through into second place as well. It was Jack Taylor who was working his way up the order as well. Luca Magnussen having a bit of a moment heading down into Abbey with a bit of a slide. He'd come to a stop and it would cause a safety car. Later on in the race there was this moment for Pribble on the inside of Alex O'Grady, causing yet another safety car in the race, before we had some battling late on. Dayton Coulthard getting pushed out wide by Thomas Ingram Hill, before Ingram Hill would return into the pit lane. Dayton Coulthard would go on to finish inside the top 10, but an unfortunate instance for Ingram Hill, getting aggressive down the inside, and contact between the pair of them seeming though as more of a bit of a racing incident. The safety car would once again restart and they would come up towards the line. Isaac Phelps leading that one, and very comfortably indeed on the restart of the race. Leon Wilson trying to battle with Dayton Coulthard and going out wide, allowing Coulthard to come through and moving up the order. Isaac Phelps would then lead them across the line for another Elite 1, 2, 3. And there we go, race number 2 of the weekend done, 5 of the championship, and the results are as such. Isaac Phelps winning the race by just over a tenth of a second from Catoulis, and Ari Bansal makes it an Elite 1, 2, 3. Taylor in 4th position with Ginchard, then Junkos, Coulthard, O'Grady, Wilson and Berg the top 10. Behind that, of course, with Ginchard setting the fastest lap of the race as well. Importantly, in 5th position, it would be Dean Areen in 11th position with Holman and Baxter, the GBR cars either side of Holman. Then Ava Dobson in 14th position before we get to Megan Bruce in 15th, Josh McLean, and then Holly Mile with 9 Evans, Lily Watkins down there as well with Caitlin McDaniel, Hilton, Ingram Hill, Pribble and Magnussen all having issues during the race. Let's investigate the championship standings after 5 races, with Catoulis leading the championship by 4 points on 122 over Isaac Phelps on 118, Ari Bansal on 104, then Ginchard, Junkos, Taylor, Berg, Holman, Wilson and O'Grady the top 10 of the championship. Should be an exciting one. Let's jump though down into Piers in the paddock.
Some of the post-race reaction with some of the drivers who didn't quite make it onto the podium, but a very good race for you, Dayton Coulthard. Dayton, that looks pretty busy out there on circuit for you.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of squeezing and a bit of contact, but it was, well, it reminds me of the karting days.
Absolutely, but a good result for yourself. Probably the strongest I think we've seen you this year so far.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an improvement. So we're coming along, you know, building every weekend. So yeah, should be good for race 3.
It looks like an improvement both in terms of pace, but also you look really confident out there in terms of racecraft. We know this is your first full season in cars. It's a bit different to karting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you feel a bit safer because at least you're covered. But no, it's good to, you know, for me to know that I'm, you know, coming along and I'm learning and, you know, it's getting better and better. So happy with it.
Amazing. Well, Dayton, we'll let you go and cool off ahead of race number 3 later on for the reverse grid, and we'll bring in Alex O'Grady next. Alex, we spoke to ahead of the race weekend. You were not come a bit closer. We can get you nice and intimate chat here. I know you weren't particularly happy with the pace after qualifying, but I think you've definitely taken a step forward today.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the testing didn't go great. We were struggling with tyres, graining that rear left every session, and the balance wasn't very good. So for qualifying, we went completely in the wrong direction of what the track was doing, and the car just wouldn't turn, and we were 1.4 off, which is not where we're meant to be, I don't think. And yeah, we've made changes in race 1, was a bit better, and now in race 2 we went from P13 to P8, which was very strong, and the pace looked good, overtaking was good, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, you should be happy. I think it's definitely a step forward. Clearly you and the KMR Sport team working well together to get the car in a window that suits you better.
Yeah, definitely, because you know, the teams like Fortec, Elite, Douglas, they've all had this car in previous years, obviously with GB3, so they know what they're doing around here. We're every session just trying to figure it out, and it's nice to see we're getting somewhere now.
Great to feel the progress. Alex, we'll let you go and cool off as well as the sun starts beating down on the Silverstone circuit here, and I'll grab a word with Leandro Junkos. Leandro joined us last time out at Donington Park, showed some great moves. Some more good moves in that one, Leandro.
Yeah, very good race. We've been struggling a bit this weekend. The car, our baseline wasn't very good, but we've been making a lot of improvements, and now, you know, we're mega. I think me and Dan were the 2 quickest cars, so it was good. We made, you know, just recovering some points from a struggling weekend.
Absolutely. I was actually just chatting to Dan off camera before I grabbed you, and he said that the car felt mega, and clearly you and the Hillspeed team, along with Dan, have made a good amount of progress throughout this weekend.
Yeah, teams are working so hard. I mean, we've been changing the car overnight every time, and we just been taking chunks. We started really far and then we got closer and closer. Qualifying wasn't too bad, but we still need a bit more. And now I think we've really found the window. And now we're a reverse grid. We're starting up front. Hopefully we can win too.
I look forward to that. Both of you and Dan, have got good confidence in the car because we saw some great moves from yourself, but also Dan went around the outside of 2 drivers. You had a front row seat for that as well, so clearly that car, the Hillspeed car, is giving you confidence to push when you need to in the racing situations.
Yeah, we just really found the window. It was really easy to follow the cars, which yesterday we struggled with, the aero wash, and now being able to follow so close, we can really push the entries and the braking, and he had a good move on the outside. I had a move with the 2 Douglas cars, so it was good. I think we made a big step today, and hopefully we can make another one for race 3.
Well, do more of the same, please. It makes it more entertaining for me to watch at home, and also everyone else at home as well. Leandro, we'll leave you to that. Thanks for catching up with us. John, an action-packed second race here at GB4 this weekend.
Yeah, very, very good. Good to hear from those drivers. Dayton Coulthard was just having a nice moment with his dad there. Reminds me of someone, looks very familiar. But yeah, that was an action-packed race. 2 safety cars, kind of takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it, a little bit people watching at home. But that means if we've got a safety car, there's been some great racing, right? Well, not always, but sometimes. Yeah?
Sometimes. But we had 2 safety car periods, but it didn't spoil the racing too much because they were both quite short, and actually brought everyone together, which allowed the likes of O'Grady and the 2 Hillspeed drivers at Junkos and Ginchard to just keep moving to the field. So when it's short like that, no one's getting hurt. Sometimes it can work in our favour.
Now we've obviously got a large grid with GB4 this year. We've had 1 reverse grid race already this season at Donington Park. What are you expecting from the reverse grid race a little bit later today?
Well, we had from Dayton that one was pretty tasty in the mid-pack already. And then when we flip the top 12, it's going to be even more tasty. I'm looking forward to it. That's all I'm going to say for now. And the weather, with the sun coming out, track temperatures rising, bit of tyres maybe going off as well, so another variable in the mix.
Will there be much to change on the track with the British GT race happening?
Yeah, generally we find after this long British GT race, when we historically come here over the years, the track changes quite a lot. The British GTs put a lot of rubber down, but also a lot of marbles offline. So something the drivers need to consider. The more experienced teams, the teams with forward thinking, will be planning that into their setups, but also talking to their drivers about where they can and can't go based on previous years' experience as well. They won't tell us exactly what they're talking about, they won't tell us exactly what they're doing with the setup, but it's something to think about, and a lot that goes on behind the scenes with these teams ahead of the next race.
Okay, well we'll find out a little bit later on. There's loads coming up. We've still got 2 more races across the GB4 and the GB3 Championship with loads to look forward to as the afternoon goes on. Of course, the GB4 reverse grid race comes after the reverse grid race in GB3. That's a 3:45 start, that one there, with the broadcast starting half an hour before. And the GB4 race is very later on in the day here, 5:49 the start of that one. So it's going to be not quite an evening race. We are in British summertime now, but we will start half an hour or so before that. I might go and see if I can get a word with Dayton's father and maybe find out where I recognise him from. Because he looked very familiar, man. I hope you enjoyed that race. That was race 5 of the championship, race 2 of the weekend here in the GB4 Championship. As I say, 3:45 is the reverse grid race in the GB3 Championship. We'll see you half an hour before here at Silverstone.
I had enough.
Okay, for both GB3 and GB4.